Have you ever stopped to think about how lust and distraction have become the biggest thieves of your time and energy? We're not just talking about obvious impulses, but that constant search for easy stimuli that drain your productivity and delay your dreams. It's a modern trap. While you get lost in momentary desires, your goals seem to drift further away. And the most frustrating part? Often you don't even realize how manipulated you are. But what if I told you that the problem isn't you? It's the system. Social media, incessant notifications, and cultural triggers have been designed to capture your attention and exploit your weaknesses. The good news is that you can turn the tables. There's a method to kill lust, regain control, and channel all your energy into what truly matters. No, this doesn't require you to become an emotionless or desireless person. On the contrary, it's about transforming those impulses into powerful fuel for your personal and professional evolution. This text isn't just another generic piece of advice to avoid distractions. Here, you will discover practical and revolutionary strategies that few have the courage to share. Get ready to understand what is really sabotaging your focus and how you can eliminate those barriers once and for all. Ready to redefine your life and unlock your maximum potential? Then let's embark on this journey together. It's curious how lust, often seen as an instinctive and natural force, can turn into one of the biggest thieves of productivity. We're not just talking about carnal desires, but that incessant impulse for any distraction that offers an immediate dopamine hit. You know that moment when you should be focused on an important goal, but something trivial pulls you off track? That's lust disguised, trying to steal your creative energy. This type of distraction acts like a parasite, draining the mental and emotional vitality necessary to achieve real progress. The problem lies not just in the act itself, but in what it represents, a pursuit of instant gratification that overlooks long-term benefits. When you give in to these small temptations, your mind gets stuck in a cycle of quick, empty stimuli, sabotaging your ability to create, innovate, and grow. It's like trying to run a marathon, but stopping at every corner for a cheap soda. In the end, exhaustion accumulates and you never reach the finish line. And this distraction has a hidden cost: the loss of focus. Imagine an entrepreneur brimming with brilliant ideas to transform their business, but who constantly succumbs to the need to scroll through social media or satisfy momentary impulses. They lose their flow, break their rhythm, and their productivity plummets. These small diversions add up until they create an abyss between them and their objectives. The same applies to anyone seeking personal development. Every moment surrendered to lust is a moment lost on the path to evolution. The most dangerous aspect is how these distractions can masquerade as necessary. A quick scroll on Instagram, a sneak peek at that video that won't hurt anyone. These little actions accumulate and drain not only your time, but also your clarity and purpose. With each interruption, you lose not just minutes, but the mental energy that could be used to build something meaningful. The question you need to ask yourself is this behavior bringing me closer to or further from my goal? The initial solution lies in seeing lust as a kind of psychological deception. It presents itself as momentary pleasure, but in reality, it's a trap that undermines your self-control. Consider this. What if, instead of seeking immediate satisfaction, you redirected those impulses towards something that propelled you forward? For instance, when you feel the urge to distract yourself, try creating something. Write down your ideas, plan the next steps of your project, or even move your body with a quick walk. These small redirections help transform the energy that would be wasted into something productive. And of course, we can't ignore the role of the digital environment in all of this. The internet is filled with triggers designed to exploit your weaknesses. Ads, notifications, and algorithms have been created to capture your attention and divert it from what's important. The first step to regaining control is recognizing these patterns and shielding yourself against them. Turn off unnecessary notifications, install content blockers, and above all, create an environment that fosters focus rather than distraction. Understanding lust as the main distraction isn't just a lesson about mental control. It's a call to reorientation. It's not about fighting against desires or impulses, but using them as leverage for something greater. The energy you feel doesn't have to be a burden. It can be the fuel for creation, movement, and progress. And this leads us to ponder. What is the impact of letting your energy slip through the cracks of distractions? What else is at stake besides your immediate focus? There's a silent price we pay when we allow lust to occupy space in our minds. It consumes energy that should be dedicated to the goals that truly matter. Think of it like an open tap, where the water that should be nourishing the garden of your dreams is being wasted. Lust, whether through digital distractions or momentary impulses, acts exactly like this. It diverts the energy needed for meaningful projects, leaving only scraps for what really counts. The most obvious impact is on productivity. Imagine someone committed to developing a digital business, an entrepreneur with a long-term vision. Each interruption, each thought lost in something irrelevant, robs them of the time and mental clarity needed to structure strategies and practical actions. Instead of planning how to expand their reach, they find themselves trapped in loops of distraction, unaware of how much this is delaying their results. Moreover, these diversions affect creative energy. The human mind is a fantastic machine, but it doesn't function well with scattered stimuli. When you give in to fleeting desires, your mental energy gets fragmented. What could be a continuous flow of ideas for a project or personal goal ends up being broken into pieces. The result? Incomplete projects, plans left aside, and that uncomfortable feeling of being constantly busy but never truly productive. Another important point is how these diversions impact long-term focus. A practical example: someone who wants to improve their physical health may start the week motivated with plans for exercise and healthy eating. However, by giving in to small impulses, such as a night of procrastination or constant indulgences, a person not only delays their goals, but also loses the initial burst of energy and clarity. Progress is interrupted and frustration sets in. Why does this happen? Because the energy required to move forward on any journey demands concentration. When you direct your attention to superficial stimuli, you are literally emptying the fuel tank that should be driving your objectives. The energy you expend scrolling through social media or succumbing to distractions is the same energy that could be used to structure your goals or solve complex problems. The key to overcoming this is to recognize energy leaks. A good exercise is to map out how you spend your time and identify your biggest distractions. Conduct a simple analysis. At what times of the day do you feel you lose control over your focus? Then, replace those moments with something constructive, such as journaling, organizing tasks, or even planning a physical movement to recharge your mind. Finally, understand that this impact goes far beyond the present moment. Every decision you make today affects tomorrow's progress. The energy dissipated by distractions is not just wasted, it is directly taken from your potential for success. This leads us to reflect on a larger question. Are we truly aware of how these small choices affect our momentum and, consequently, our long-term dreams? Momentum is that almost magical force that transforms small actions into significant achievements over time. It's like pushing a giant ball downhill. Initially, the effort is enormous, but as the motion gains strength, it practically sustains itself. Losing that momentum due to distractions like lust is akin to throwing sand into the gears of a powerful engine. The impact isn't immediate, but it can be devastating in the long run. When you lose momentum, everything seems harder. Have you ever noticed how returning to a lost habit, such as daily reading or exercising, feels like an enormous effort? This happens because each interruption breaks the rhythm and requires you to expend even more energy to start again. What could have been a smooth continuation turns into a frustrating cycle of starting, stopping, and trying again. And often, the trying again doesn't even happen. Imagine a writer, for example, who is working on a book. Initially, they are inspired, writing several pages a day, but then they give in to the temptation of spending hours on social media or being entertained by momentary distractions. They lose their rhythm. What was once a natural flow of ideas turns into a creative block. They stare at the blank screen and can't regain the creative energy they had before. This isn't just frustrating. It's a clear example of how losing momentum directly impacts productivity. The same happens in business and entrepreneurial projects. When an entrepreneur loses focus and work rhythm, important deadlines are pushed back and opportunities may be missed. Worse, the confidence they had in themselves begins to dissolve. After all, it's challenging to maintain self-confidence when you feel stuck in a cycle of procrastination. Small distractions, when accumulated, cost much more than they seem at first glance. And it's not just in work. Lost momentum also affects personal development. Think of someone who decides to adopt a morning routine for meditation and planning their day. In the first few days, the mental clarity and sense of purpose are undeniable. But if they give in to laziness or distraction just once or twice, the habit starts to fade. Over the long term, the person not only loses the benefits of the practice, but also begins to believe they lack the discipline to maintain something so simple. The good news is that it's possible to protect your momentum. A practical strategy is to create anchors in your day, small habits or rituals that help you enter a flow state. This could be something as simple as starting the day with 10 minutes of writing about your goals or planning your next most important task. Another idea is to eliminate decisions that require repeated willpower. For instance, if social media is a problem, remove easy access to it during work hours. Less temptation means more progress. The point is that momentum is not just about efficiency, it's about consistency. When you maintain the rhythm, your confidence grows, your skills improve, and your goals become more tangible. But are we aware of how much our small distractions sabotage this process? This leads us to reflect on how to redirect our energy to protect the movement that drives us toward progress. The struggle against lust or any other distraction is not won by brute force, but through strategy and redirection. It's like a river. You can't just dam it up, because it will find another way to flow. Instead, you can build channels and direct the water where it will be most useful. The same logic applies to your mental and emotional energy. Replacing destructive impulses with elevated stimuli aligned with your goals is the path to sustainable progress. This change in perspective starts with a simple shift in focus. Instead of viewing lust as an enemy, see it as a source of energy that needs to be channeled. When you feel that urge for instant gratification, think of it as a signal that there's energy available, just misdirected. For example, instead of succumbing to the temptation of losing hours in digital distractions, use that energy for something productive, like starting a new project, going for a walk, or organizing your thoughts. Physical movement is a powerful tool for redirecting energy. When your mind is restless, your body can be the necessary outlet to channel that excess stimulation. Something as simple as stretching, doing a quick workout, or even dancing for a few minutes can completely change your mental state. Studies show that physical exercise releases endorphins and regulates dopamine levels, helping you regain control over your impulses and clarity about your goals. Another effective practice is to create something new. The creative energy that is often wasted on scattered thoughts can be utilized to build something meaningful. If you enjoy writing, start a journal or develop ideas for your next article or project. If you prefer something more tangible, try learning a new hobby, like painting or woodworking. The act of creating is not only a way to channel energy, but also a means of reinforcing your purpose and self-mastery. The purpose, in fact, is the foundation of any change in perspective. When you have clarity about your long-term goals, distractions lose their power. Ask yourself, what do I want to build in 5 years? How are my actions today contributing to that? This reflection helps transform momentary desires into motivation for actions aligned with your objectives. For instance, someone looking to venture into the digital space can use these moments to plan strategies, study new business models, or even create content that impacts their audience. It's also helpful to develop visual reminders that keep you focused. A vision board with your goals, an alarm on your phone with motivational quotes, or even a picture that symbolizes your dream can help redirect your mind when impulses arise. Simple gestures like these create a direct connection between the present and the future, making it easier to channel your energy. Ultimately, changing your perspective isn't about suppressing desire or any other impulse, but about transforming them into tools for your progress. The question is, how can you harness that energy to create a life that truly matters? This leads us to consider the role of our environment and the external triggers that constantly shape our actions and reactions. We live in an era where the digital environment is a machine designed to capture our attention at all costs. Social media, advertisements, and apps operate based on sophisticated algorithms that understand our behavior patterns better than we do. They utilize psychological triggers that exploit our biology, feeding desires, including lust, and keeping us trapped in cycles of distraction. The problem lies not only in the existence of these stimuli, but in how they shape our choices without us realizing it. These triggers are not accidental. From the bright notifications to infinite scrolling, everything has been meticulously designed to provoke a release of dopamine that makes us crave more. Consider how a simple notification on your phone can divert your focus from an important task. For example, you might be working on a crucial project, but when you hear the ping of a message, your attention is instantly pulled away. That brief moment of distraction often turns into lost minutes or hours. The impact is particularly significant for those seeking success in the digital realm. Imagine a content creator spending more time being absorbed by social media than developing their own ideas, or an entrepreneur who should be strategizing but finds themselves watching random videos instead. These scenarios highlight how environmental triggers, when unchecked, drain productivity and hinder progress. A fundamental strategy to combat this is to create an environment that works in your favor. For instance, disabling notifications using apps that limit social media time and setting up a distraction-free workspace are simple yet powerful actions. Another idea is to replace digital stimuli with uplifting stimuli, such as listening to personal development podcasts, reading inspiring books, or watching motivational talks. Instead of succumbing to shallow entertainment, choose content that fuels your creative energy. Additionally, we must understand that these triggers are not just digital, they are everywhere, in store displays, TV commercials, and even casual conversations. Therefore, it's essential to develop a mental filter. Whenever a stimulus arises, ask yourself, is this helping me or pulling me away from my goals? This simple question can interrupt the cycle of automatic reaction and bring clarity to your choices. Another powerful tool is building daily rituals. Starting your day with an intentional ritual, like writing down your goals, meditating, or organizing priorities, creates a sort of mental shield against external distractions. It's as if you're training your mind to prioritize what truly matters. A practical example is the Pomodoro technique, which alternates periods of intense focus with short breaks, keeping your attention safeguarded against external interferences. At the core, the biggest challenge isn't avoiding triggers, but taking control over how we react to them. The question isn't whether we will be exposed to them, because that's inevitable, but how we can transform our surrounding environment into an ally for our progress. This leads us to an even more important reflection. How can we apply practical solutions to turn these insights into real and consistent changes in our daily lives? Combating lust and the distractions it generates requires more than willpower. It demands strategy and practical actions. The key isn't to eliminate desire, but to transform it into something that contributes to your goals. When lust arises, think of it as raw energy that can be shaped and channeled. After all, what truly matters isn't the temptation itself, but what you do with it. A powerful practice is mental reframing. Whenever a thought or stimulus related to lust appears, ask yourself, is this helping me achieve my purpose? For example, if you feel the urge for distraction, take a moment to write down why your goal is important. By focusing on your objectives, you turn a momentary impulse into a reminder of your purpose. You might also create lists with phrases like, "My time is valuable," or "I'm building something greater," to reinforce this mindset. Another effective technique is to move your body. Physical activity not only interrupts the cycle of distraction, but also alleviates the mental and emotional tension that might be mistaken for desire. Something as simple as a 15-minute walk, a few sets of jumping jacks, or a quick stretching session can completely change your mental state. Additionally, regular physical activity increases your sense of control over yourself and helps maintain focus on larger goals. Creative energy, when properly directed, is another essential tool. Instead of wasting it on distractions, use it to create something meaningful. If you're an entrepreneur, for example, dedicate this time to planning your next marketing campaign or creating content for your audience. If you're focused on personal development, try starting a journal to explore ideas and thoughts. Even creative hobbies like drawing or playing an instrument can help redirect desire into something productive. The environment also plays a crucial role. A space filled with triggers invites distraction. Therefore, invest in adjusting your physical and digital surroundings. Install apps that block websites and notifications. Set up an organized and distraction-free workspace and, if possible, establish specific times for recreational activities. A practical example, use tools like Freedom or Cold Turkey to limit the time spent on social media. Providing your brain with higher stimuli is another way to break the cycle. Replace superficial content with something that feeds your mind and long-term vision. Watch TED Talks, read books like The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, or listen to podcasts about entrepreneurship and self-development. These activities not only satisfy your need for novelty, but also keep your energy directed toward progress. Finally, create a support system. Sharing your goals with a friend or mentor can help you stay focused. Having someone to hold you accountable is a powerful motivator. For example, you could establish a weekly commitment to discuss your progress and challenges with someone you trust. This simple action can be a game changer in maintaining your energy and momentum. By implementing these practices, you not only overcome momentary impulses but also transform your energy into fuel for progress. This leads us to the next step: how to develop control and mastery over oneself to sustain these changes over time. Self-control and mastery are essential skills for anyone looking to achieve ambitious goals, yet they are also the most challenging to develop. Recognizing lust as an energy leak is the first step, but the real power lies in redirecting that energy into something constructive rather than destructive. Self-mastery is not about repressing desires, it's about transforming them into tools for progress. One of the most effective ways to build mental control is through daily discipline practice. This can start with something simple, like waking up at the same time every day or completing a small but significant task first thing in the morning. For example, a morning routine that includes meditation, reading, or planning your day can be a game changer. These small victories accumulate, reinforcing your ability to say no to distractions and yes to your goals. Another important component is clarity about your long-term objectives. When you have a clear purpose, it's easier to resist momentary temptations. An entrepreneur committed to building a meaningful digital business knows that every wasted moment is a step away from that goal. Therefore, they keep visible reminders like a goal board or an app that tracks their progress to constantly remind themselves why they're doing what they do. Training your focus is also crucial. We live in a world full of stimuli, but it is possible to train your mind to concentrate on what matters. Try practices like mindfulness meditation, where you learn to observe your thoughts without engaging with them. Another technique is deep work, which involves setting aside blocks of time to work intensely on something without interruptions. This not only boosts your productivity, but also strengthens your ability to maintain focus in the face of distractions. Mental control also involves taking care of your body. Your physical energy directly affects your ability to maintain emotional and mental control. A balanced diet, quality sleep, and regular exercise are pillars that cannot be ignored. A practical tip: avoid energy spikes and drops throughout the day by maintaining a diet rich in proteins and vegetables while limiting sugar and caffeine intake. Your body is the foundation for sustaining your mental achievements. Additionally, practice the delay of gratification. When you feel a desire or impulse, try waiting a few minutes before acting. This simple pause allows you to regain control and make conscious choices. For instance, if you feel tempted to give in to a distraction, set a timer for 5 minutes and use that time to reflect on whether the action aligns with your goals. Often, that interval is enough to redirect your energy. Finally, recognize that mastery over oneself is a continuous process. It's not about achieving perfection, but about making consistent progress. With every conscious choice, you reinforce your ability to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions. By taking command of your energy, you not only move closer to success, but also experience a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment. This journey of self-mastery is a daily endeavor. With that, the question arises: how can we apply everything we've learned so far to finally overcome lust and achieve a state of absolute focus? There is a path, and it starts with a decision. Now that you understand how lust, distractions, and momentary impulses sabotage your goals, what will you do from here? You have the power to transform every drop of wasted energy into fuel for your productivity, progress, and success. But remember, knowledge without action is just wasted potential. The decision to act, or not, lies in your hands. Pause and reflect. What would your life look like in 6 months if you applied even one of these strategies? Maybe it's the control over your schedule that you've always wanted. Perhaps it's the progress on projects you've postponed for too long. Or maybe it's that creative impulse that finally propels your career to the next level. But there's only one way to find out. Take action. If lust is an energy leak, what can you do today to seal it? And more importantly, how will you redirect that energy into building the life you deserve? Start small, but start now. Choose one technique, implement it, and see how it transforms your routine. And before you go, tell me, what's stopping you from making that decision right now? Leave your comment, share your challenges and ideas. I want to know how I can help you further. Oh, and don't forget, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join me on this self-development journey. Together, we can build a future filled with purpose, focus, and creative energy.